My name is Rachel, and this is the story of how I found out my husband had another family while he was still married to me. It didn't start with lipstick on a collar, or late-night phone calls, or him coming home smelling like another woman. No, it started with a birthday party invitation, addressed to him, not us, from a name I didn't recognize. At first, I thought it was work-related, maybe a client, a cousin I hadn't met, but something felt off. So I Googled it, and what I found shattered me. There were photos, a Facebook profile, a woman named Chelsea smiling beside a man who looked just like my husband, only a little older, a little more tired. But it was him. I would recognize those eyes anywhere. Next to him, a little boy with his dimples. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. Not at first. I just stared at that little boy, at his smile. He was maybe 5, maybe 6. And I did the math in my head. My husband and I had been married for 9 years. That meant this wasn't a fling. This wasn't a moment of weakness. This was a life. An entire life he built parallel to ours. I remember sitting there on the edge of our bed, phone in hand, heart in free fall. He was at work. Or at least that's what he said. So I called. My hands were shaking. "Hey babe," he answered. So casual. So normal. "Quick question," I said, keeping my voice steady. "Who's Chelsea?" There was a pause. Not long, but long enough. Then he laughed. "Oh, she's just someone from high school." "Why? Just someone? Why was just someone throwing you a kid's birthday party? Why were you in pictures with her, holding that child like he was yours?" That night, I didn't confront him. I didn't want excuses. I wanted proof. So I waited until he fell asleep. I went through his phone. There it was. Photos. Messages. "I'll tuck Liam in after the meeting. Tell him Daddy loves him." A selfie with the little boy on his shoulders. I scrolled until my hands went numb. He had a son. With her. He had a second life. A second home. And I was the other woman. I just didn't know it. The next morning, I dropped him off at work with a kiss. He didn't know I knew. I had never felt more hollow in my life. I sat in the car, hands on the wheel, engine running, and I Googled the address from one of the birthday photos. It was only 20 minutes away. 20 minutes. That's how close she lived to me. To us. The second family. I don't remember the drive. My mind was blank. Or too full. It was like noise static. But I got there. I parked across the street. And I waited. It wasn't long before I saw her. Chelsea. She stepped outside with a coffee mug in one hand and a toddler's sock in the other. She looked normal. Beautiful even. Tired. Comfortable. And then it's him. The little boy from the photos. He ran out in superhero pajamas and clung to her leg. She laughed. Kissed his forehead. Then said something I couldn't hear, and he ran back inside. I opened the car door before I could stop myself. I didn't plan it. There was no speech in my head. No confrontation prepared. But I walked across the street. "Are you Chelsea?" She looked up, cautious. Yes. Her voice was uncertain. I took a breath. "I'm Rachel. I'm his wife." And just like that, her face drained of color. She didn't deny it. Didn't play dumb. She just stared at me. I thought he was divorced," she said finally, her voice trembling. "He told me he was divorced. For years. Years. This wasn't just betrayal. This was architecture. A carefully built house of lies. A double life maintained for almost a decade. She invited me in. Neither of us really knew what we were doing. But there was a strange comfort in her, like I wasn't going insane alone anymore. We sat at her kitchen table. It was quiet. Too quiet. The kind of silence where your own breath feels too loud. She poured me coffee. Her hands were shaking. So were mine. We started comparing dates. Photos. Messages. holidays, vacations, birthdays. We were overlapping. Fully. He'd been with both of us for 7 years. Alternating weekends, business trips, late shifts. He had 2 phones, 2 names saved in different ways, 2 lives and not one moment of truth. At some point, I looked around the kitchen. There were drawings on the fridge, a little pair of shoes by the door, a backpack with his last name on it. He wasn't just visiting. He lived here too. I don't remember standing up. I just remember walking to the door and saying, "I'm going to confront him. Today." She nodded. "I'll be there." I think I need to hear it too. That evening, I told him I made dinner reservations. He looked surprised, maybe even suspicious, but smiled. We met at a restaurant halfway between both houses. Neutral ground. Ironic. He sat across from me, all buttoned up confidence. I watched him drink his wine, check his phone, ask about my day. Then I said, "How old is Liam now?" He froze. That's when Chelsea walked in and sat next to me. He turned ghost white. The next 30 seconds felt like slow motion. He stood. "What is this?" Chelsea said, "You tell us." He looked between us like a cornered animal. I asked, "Are we both your wives?" Chelsea added, "Are we both your lies?" And he broke. Not into tears, but excuses. "You don't understand. It just happened. I didn't want to hurt either of you." He lied to our faces, even while caught. That was the most horrifying part. He didn't stop. He couldn't. We didn't make a scene. There were no plates thrown. No shouting. No wine in his face. Just silence. And then I stood up. "You don't get to choose now. You already made your choices for years. You don't get to talk. We're done listening." Chelsea followed me out. He sat there, staring after us. Small. So small. That night, I slept in a hotel. I couldn't go back home. Not yet. The walls felt like they'd collapse from all the lies trapped inside them. The next morning, I called a lawyer. Chelsea did too. We didn't plan revenge. We planned release. She filed for custody. I filed for divorce. And we blocked him. Everywhere. Weeks passed. And then months. People talk about healing like it's a straight line. It's not. One minute I'd feel strong, like I'd reclaimed myself. The next, I'd be crying in the cereal aisle because he once picked that brand for me. Chelsea and I kept in touch. Funny how the person he used to divide us became the one I leaned on the most. I still don't know how he did it. How he kept the lies alive so long. Maybe some people are just built for it. For manipulation. Maybe he even believed he loved us both. But love doesn't live in lies. And it doesn't break 2 families to build a fantasy. I don't hate him. Not anymore. But I will never, ever forget the moment I realized I had shared my soul with someone who never shared his truth. So, if you're listening to this wondering if that weird gut feeling means something, it does. If you're seeing cracks in the story, it's probably already broken. This was my story. And telling it out loud was the first time I ever felt truly free. If this story shook you, if you've ever been lied to by someone who swore they loved you, you're not alone. Subscribe to Behind Closed Doors. More stories like this deserve to be heard.